A little Torah to take with us from the Parsha from tomorrow morning's reading. Parshat Vayeilech. It begins with a very cryptic verse, or at least cryptic in the rabbinic mind, because it's not all that cryptic. You'll hear it in a second. But it lends itself to something. Like many verses in our sacred tradition, they say something in such a way that you wonder what they didn't say. Vayeilech Moshe vayidaber es hadvarim ha'ele el kol Yisrael. Vayeilech Moshe, and Moshe went and he spoke all of these things to the children of Israel. What did he say to them? He said to them, I'm 120 years old. I can't come and go as I used to. I'm not the man I used to be. I'm not the Moshe I used to be. La'uchal od latzeis v'lavo v'Adonai amar elai. So that's one thing. I can't come and go. And God already told me I'm not going into the promised land. I'm not transing the Jordan. So it says the Midrash, the rabbis pick up on this. Vayeilech means that he went. Why do we have to know that he went? Where else in the Torah does it tell us before it tells us that Moshe spoke to the people that he went to speak with them? Where did he have to go? Vayeilech Moshe. You can hear in this a little bit of the verb vayikach korach, like in Korach took. When there's a verb without an action, what exactly did he take? Where did he walk to? So it says, the Midrash says that he used to go into all of the tents. He had to make sure that everybody heard personally from him. Vayeilech came to teach. One Midrashic voice says, teaches that he went personally to make sure that the message was delivered to each and every person, not like a big, broad, I'm going to die, but that each person heard it directly from Moshe, or I'm leaving. And he went also to comfort them, to say, I had a good life. Don't be sad for me. But one Hasidic Rebbe says something else, which really took my breath away. Hinei Adam nikra holech. Says the Orach L'Chaim, the human beings are defined as those who walk, walkers. Whether you walk or not, it's an existential category. In contrast to angels who are statically standing. They stand, but we walk. And that's a milah, it's a good thing. Standing in one place, as opposed to moving and growing and evolving and developing and learning and progressing. You can be stuck or you can progress. You can't do both. So it says, "V'nikra Adam holech kishaved es Hashem Yisbarach, azu holech ba'avodaso me'olam me'olam." It says, there's something about this business of moving from one moment to another, not being stuck in the moment that passed and not running ahead to the moment that's coming, but staying in a nice gait. You're walking. Your life is a kind of stroll. Even if it's a difficult stroll, no matter what you're seeing, but there's a sense of movement, a sense of possibility. And then he quotes Rashi, the great medieval exegete, who says, in the name of the Midrash as well, that when Moses said, I can't come and go, shenitlam mimenu harishus v'nitna leYoshua, says that there's something here that's remarkable. That not only was Moshe considered to be somebody who was walking, but he was walking even though the power that had been vested in him had already been given to Joshua. Here's a leader that's a lame duck leader. He's a Moshe who is about to tell people that, my term is up, I'm not going to fight. God told me I can't go in. What belongs to Joshua belongs to Joshua, belongs to me, belongs to me. And says this Chashish Rebbe, he was still considered a walker, even when the energy behind movement you would have imagined that he had no energy. He had given up already. He no longer had the energy that had been vested in him. It had been given to Joshua, right? And then there's another Midrash that says that Moshe tried to have prophecy at that moment, but he pressed the button and it didn't come. So nothing's working for him. And yet the Torah defines him as a Vayeilech. It says the Orach L'Chaim, wow. He doesn't have the power of prophecy. All of the energies in the office, the keys to his big, fancy, schmancy Moshe office have been given to Joshua. They're moving in the Joshua branding. And, they're plastering it up on the streets, Joshua. And Moshe's walking around going, I'm still a Vayeilech. Ich bin a Vayeilech. I'm still walking. I'm still growing. Even when mayonot chokhmah have been nistimu, even when I don't have insight, I don't have wisdom, even when I'm triggered, I'm activated, and everything in me wants to throw myself on the ground, everything in me wants to scream outside of a window, I'm still a Vayeilech. You're still a Vayeilech. You're still walking. Walking in a daze. Walking confused. Feeling powerless and feeling disconnected. And the Torah comes to remind us on the Shabbat before Yom Kippur, take one step more. Don't give up on your capacities to grow, even when everything. I'm going to tell the story about the Baal Shem Tov. He used to say that he wanted moments where he couldn't log on, where he couldn't connect, where he felt as if everything had been removed from him, and he couldn't even say the alphabet. There are stories about the Baal Shem Tov and his father, especially his father, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Eliezer, where he was captured. They're crazy Hasidic stories. Captured, became a captive, and he lost his ability forgot he was a Jew. He forgot his Hebrew letters, all of these wonderful apocryphal folk stories, all of them trying to tell us that the moment when we are completely chaser, the moment we're completely bereft, the moment we can't even put a sentence together, a moment we can't even see our hand in front of our faces, a moment where there's complete and utter churban, like there was here 20 years ago tomorrow. When there's complete and utter destruction, where no one could have imagined as they walked uptown that life would return to downtown. No one could have imagined at that moment that a different calamity 20 years later would befall us without anything crumbling, but just the sense of not the fire and the brimstone of that terrorist attack, but the vapor, the basic breath between us would become something that could terrorize us. But ich bin a Vayeilech. I'm still walking. I'm still walking. I'm still growing. I'm still doing my inner work. I'm still doing the work with another human being. I'll tell you something, friends. Like today, I couldn't believe it. I was at the gravesite of this tzaddik, Alan Dumaine, Mamish tzaddik. And there was so much love there. We were singing hallelujah and crying and people grabbing earth and putting it into and you feel that heaven and earth there's no space between them. It's mamish unbelievable. And the son, one of his children, Ian, said, someone told me that when I'm here in front of the grave, I'm going to feel God's presence. And I said, there's no way. And he said, I feel God's presence here more than ever. And I felt it too. I felt it was like an kavod, like the clouds had come down. And I was at Mount Sinai. And I got back into my jalopy, and I'm driving back into the city. After this unbelievable moment of human connection, we're all going to be there, right? Come on. It's not depressing. It's just true. And some guy, I double parked to get into the parking garage, and some guy was annoyed at me, and he screamed at me, Azoy screaming at me from 2 cars back. I could not believe it. I thought to myself, what is happening? I got out of the car and I said to him, excuse me, my friend, how old are you? I was like, how old are you? Yeah, you're not in, it's like if he was an ambulance driver, the pikuach nefesh, somebody's dying, God forbid. But he had to get to the green light that became red 3 seconds later, and he literally screamed at me like I thought I was like an enemy. I thought to myself, how can you say something like that to another person? I thought to myself, I'm mishugana. It's like, I can't, like the space between stimulus and reaction and the brain being offline, and then you say things. And I get it. Like Moshe Rabbeinu here, he doesn't have any chokhmah, nistemu, he's dialing it up, it's slow. He can't get to the green light, the red light, 1, 2, 3, and it's over, and he gets angry, but no, he doesn't get angry. Vayeilech. He walks. He goes around, he's compassionate, he's loving. That's the test, says the Orach L'chaim. That's your test. Parshat Vayeilech between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Not when you're in Kol Nidre and you're sitting there and you're saying, oh, wow, it's amazing. Not amazing. It's in the ordinary moments like that. And you catch yourself and you say, you know what? I'm a Vayeilech. I'm not static and I walk one step at a time. I'm on the path. And the only way to get there is making the path itself holy. Vayeilech. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should bless me and you and all of us here. That in those moments where things are closed and dark and we don't see it, that we remember. Vayeilech Moshe. Af al pi chen, he was a Vayeilech. He took one step. And one step, right? One small step can be a big step for all of us. God should bless us with that as we enter into the depths of the Yamim of Aseret Yemei Teshuvah. Please rise.